Hi, I'm Nigel Kent, and welcome to Trouble in Paradise. Today, our great friend Gabby Fallon is away on special Gabby business, and we are joined by Ronin James, who is a man of tremendous, exquisite taste and very good humor, or at least that's what I've heard.
Well, good humor like ice cream.
Yeah, good-
Childhood memories.
yeah,
Love it.
the ice cream truck.
Oh, the music. Oh, Pavlov's response still to this day.
Oh, you get to start drooling when you go you call your mom and be like, Mom, the ice cream truck's coming. Come on, give me some money.
Well, I never kind of asked her. I kind of stole it the day before, so I knew I would have it. I like being prepared. Boy Scout training.
Yeah, big time. Big time. Well, I've got a couple of Florida man stories that I'd like to share with you and get your take on. I'm going to pull up the second display here and let our audience that's watching on YouTube see some of this video. But I wanted to start with this one because, well, I just thought it was kind of funny. And it actually is the second week in a row where we've had a story like this where somebody called to report their missing drugs. They're missing illicit drugs. In this case, the date line is October 15th, and it says, deputies ask Florida man to quit calling about his stolen marijuana. I wonder how many times this guy called before they were like, dude, stop calling us. But it says Miami, right? A Florida man was told by deputies to stop calling 911 to report that his roommate had stolen his marijuana. A deputy for the Pasco County Sheriff's Office posted a Twitter response to the man's call Saturday night. Stop calling. So he tweeted it. I mean, how much does it take to get the sheriff's office to tweet something about what's going on there? That's
Right.
Not an official communication mechanism.
No. In part, I do take some responsibility here for this story. The police down in Miami are a little bit upset right now because I tend to borrow those police German Shepherd dogs only because sometimes even I have trouble finding my own weed, and they really are, talented.
So you actually go to great lengths. You'll actually go in there and kidnap a police dog, canine dog, to find your own weed.
Yes, but I do reward the dogs. I hotbox them, and they seem to like that.
I know that you actually don't. Ladies and gentlemen, my buddy Ronin does not hotbox any dogs. In fact, I happen to know that he doesn't actually partake. So for those of you that are taking this all real seriously right now, just calm down, okay?
Yeah, nothing serious here.
Nothing
Finish
serious.
your drinks. Move on.
So Deputy Neil Zelva says in the Twitter video that he called the man back to tell him to quit contacting the sheriff's office about his stolen marijuana. Zelva recorded the video as a part of the agency's #tweetalong program, which allows viewers to get a behind-the-scenes look at the police work by the deputies.
Tweedle what?
Tweet along.
Tweet along, tweedle dumb. So it gets confusing, doesn't it?
Yeah, I don't understand why the police have to worry about social media. I think they should be more concerned with busting criminals that are stealing and murdering and stuff like that. But that's just me.
And most other tax-paying citizens that don't want to be hassled.
Then the next line, thank you, Miami Herald. Recreational marijuana use remains illegal in Florida. So this guy obviously didn't have a medical card. A sheriff's office spokesman says no charges were filed against the caller. Sheriff's Office Communications Director Kevin Dahl said Tuesday they just wanted the man to stop calling about the stolen weed.
Right. Actually, a couple of the officers did take his number, and I heard he was invited to some of the parties that they had thrown. Right. Speaking of police, I do have to tell you this. So back in the last anniversary of September 11th, just a couple of months ago.
Oh, don't start talking about my favorite conspiracy subject.
Well, this is interesting. This doesn't really hinge on conspiracy as much as it is just common sense.
Okay.
So the police chief in New York was doing was kind of giving a speech, and I was watching some of it, and he says, we will never forget 9/11. And what struck me is that I just felt like saying, of course you are not going to forget 9/11. It's your phone number.
Oh, my. That's a good one. How many of these did you actually have queued up and ready to go? Because that one, I feel like that one you just kind of came up with. Like, I feel like when you're going through your joke selection, half of them you have ready, and the other half just come to you during the conversation.
It's all free association, mostly. And the problem is, it's recalling certain jokes are really difficult unless a word triggers a memory.
Okay.
And then, the whole thing kind of comes back. So reconstructing these things that are stored in, object-based storage.
Object-based
in the brain.
storage.
Yes. Very difficult to recall.
It's a neural network. So that's what happened to the guy that called for to get the cops to get his marijuana. But then there's this other guy who this one kind of cracked me up. Right, this is the Florida man who fired a gun into the wrong vehicle following a road rage incident. And the first thing I thought when I saw this guy is, when did the Amish start showing up in Florida?
I mean, he definitely has an Amish thing going, but he also looks like a psychopath. There's that look, where there's just no embarrassment there. He's just looking, it looks like a mugshot, and just this blank stare, which is creepy.
So he's a psychotic Amish.
Yes.
And do you think, so based on...
But they built the best barns.
Well, they built good furniture up north too, but... so if fires gun into wrong vehicle, do you think that he shot his gun into another horse and buggy?
Well, let's think about this. I cannot see him taking out a .38 special as an Amish.
Well,
so I would imagine...
Would have been a rifle of some kind,
right. And you do need time to get the rifle up and going. So
maybe it was a musket.
Well, okay, now you're going a little further. I'm not sure if Amish existed at the time of the muskets.
I don't know.
But in any event, I would have liked to see this. Somebody, somewhere, must have caught this on cell phone video. Because...
You know what's interesting about this story? You see this date here, November 8th, 2019? That was the second month anniversary of the day that I met Jasmine. So this story is particularly important to me. And I feel like Jasmine is going to watch this. And so therefore I had to drop that in there just for her benefit. Hi, Jasmine.
And the names are changed to protect the innocent.
That's right, to protect the innocent. And she is innocent. Despite everything that has gone on, she is innocent. A Florida man is facing an aggravated assault charge after he admitted shooting at the wrong vehicle after he thought another driver was trying to kill him. 24-year-old Dakota Haber. That's this guy.
Okay, so now we have psychopath, but we're going to add paranoid psychopath.
Paranoid. He thought somebody was trying to kill him.
Right. The more the story progresses and we look at the picture, it's almost as if there's nothing surprising about what this guy would say or do.
No, I mean, right now I'm pretty unimpressed with this dude, other than the fact that if he wanted to be Amish on Halloween every year, he could totally nail it. 24-year-old Dakota Haber was arrested Tuesday night at the Swan View Townhomes complex in Odessa, wherever that's at. According to, here we are in Pasco County again. They have all the fun in Pasco County, huh? According to a Pasco County Sheriff's Office report, Haber and another driver had gotten into a road rage confrontation at the front gate of the complex around 8:40. Both drivers got back into their vehicles and entered the complex. A short time later, Haber believed he saw the other driver following him, so he got a handgun out of his vehicle and fired 5 shots at the suspected vehicle from more than 50 yards away.
Right. At least no windows shattered if it was an Amish incident.
Well, yeah. I mean, obviously, he was driving a real vehicle, so this guy's a fake Amish. He's not real Amish.
Yeah, but I like to kind of fantasize this and kind of overlay the idea of the Amish thing.
Well, I mean, if they were legitimately Amish, how would this have gone down? I mean, they're trying to get back into their Amish community. I don't know.
I think to make it more fun, I envision 2 Amish horse-drawn buggies.
Oh, heck yeah.
Okay, now you're with me.
It's the single horse, like the one you see up north where it's a single horse with a single buggy. And maybe there's a Papa Amish with the beard and the son Amish with the clean shaving. And what in the world could trigger them against another Amish guy? Like, what would they get pissed off about?
Yeah, that wouldn't be their MO.
Can you get a DUI as a drunk horse and buggy operator, and maybe he crashes into the other one or something like that?
Yeah, I don't think they have police have much jurisdiction over these guys. So
I know they definitely do in Ohio, because there's been some court cases. There was one really crazy case about an Amish guy that assaulted another Amish guy and cut off all of his hair. And they ended up ruling it as some kind of like weird hate crime. And the guy went to jail for a long time. What does an Amish guy do in jail?
Wow, he learns a whole new lifestyle.
Apparently, yeah. He's forced to use electricity every day and stuff like that.
Right. Speak about, you had talked about this guy being able to nail it every single Halloween as an Amish guy down here.
Yeah.
But it just reminded me of another story. Again, when we think of religion, these different ideas come up. So recently, as they're uncovering, different gospels, they uncovered a gospel which talked about how difficult it was to arrange the Last Supper. Jesus was so difficult to nail down.
Oh, wow. I was like, I'm thinking, okay, here comes the punchline, except this is a real story. I'm thinking he's talking about the apocryphal gospels, which is something I take an individualistic interest in. And I'm buying it the entire time. And then all of a sudden you're like, Jesus was so difficult to nail down.
Right. Of course, I couldn't get the words out because I'm laughing at my own joke, which is pathetic in and of itself.
I think Jesus was probably decently easy to nail down because they beat the fucking shit out of him for like a whole day before they put him on the cross, according to the Bible.
That sounds like my last divorce.
Well, at least you got off the cross, man.
Mm. So there was one more thing. There was a friend of mine who told me this, and it is also kind of funny too. But those of us old enough to remember Richard Nixon.
Nixon. I don't personally remember him.
Oh, I do. But here's the funny thing. So
were you sad when the dinosaurs died?
Yeah, it took me 65 million years to get over it. It wasn't easy. So anyway, if you think about Jesus on the cross, and to the left and to the right of him were two crooks, right? Mm-hmm. So can you imagine if it was Richard Nixon up there instead of Jesus, strung out with his arms out? Says, I am not a crook, but he is, and he is. Yeah.
I mean, it would be the opposite of what actually happened. That's actually an interesting story, and it's a really deep one because the reality of that story is that one of them came to become a humble and repentant and insightful man just before he died. And the other one was like, fuck you, I shouldn't be on this cross. And actually, anybody that is interested in the outcome of that story, I really suggest that they read it. Because for me, that's one of the most compelling moments in the entire story of the life of Jesus Christ. And it was right at the end of his 33 years, before the burial and resurrection and all that kind of stuff. But
right. Well, I wonder if, in a more serious note, if, he actually was in the presence of Jesus before they were nailed up, and maybe the other one wasn't.
Maybe.
And, it absolutely might make sense to me. But that's a much more serious topic.
It sure is. Obviously, the dichotomy of it is one was hard-hearted and the other one was open, right. And I guess willing to accept what was going on, or what was being told to him. So yeah, that's the Amish guy in Florida. How about this guy? Florida man arrested for groping Disney princess at Magic Kingdom. Look at this dude.
Yeah, he, again, looks like a psychopath.
He looks like he has no teeth in that mouth.
Oh, yeah. Or he's got something in his mouth. Like, how hamsters grab all that food and, stick it in their cheeks. He looks like he's got something.
Yeah, he looks not well.
Right. Or maybe he's carrying a key to the handcuffs in his mouth and he's waiting for the photograph session to be over, and he's going to spit it into his, and free himself somehow with the handcuffs.
Since it's entirely fantastic what this guy actually pulled off, it said he groped a Walt Disney World worker dressed as a princess during a photo opportunity at the Magic Kingdom.
To his defense, some of those princesses are quite cute.
Okay. That somehow makes it okay.
No. I think the age difference.
Do you think he did a boob grab or a butt grab?
I would imagine.
It probably depends on which princess it was.
Yes,
right?
yes, and how tall he is, and how he might think he can get away with it with all of the cameras there. So a butt grab is probably a little bit easier to conceal.
All right, now here's where it gets funny, right? An Orange County Sheriff's Office affidavit says Brian Sherman and his wife posed for pictures with the woman on Saturday afternoon. Sherman said the character was his favorite before putting his arm around her and groping her breast. So he got an around the neck titty action grab.
The long arms of the law. In this case, the lawless.
And the affidavit says Sherman sat on one side of the woman and his wife was on the other side. Co-workers told investigators the victim wasn't able to move before Sherman groped her. She was crying when Sherman left the room. I mean, he's there with his wife. Does it say anything about his wife getting pissed at him about it?
No, I thought maybe, if they were really a couple, she would have grabbed one, he would have grabbed one. It's symmetrical. Something about balance, right?
I don't want to minimize the trauma experienced by the young woman, because obviously getting groped by a pretty, terrible looking stranger is not a good experience for a young woman. Like, no, you don't want that for your daughter, your sister, or anybody. But the fact that he was there with his wife, I'm kind of like, what the hell happened here?
Right. Plus, you know what? We are thinking people, right? At least most of us are. Well, we know that this is some young person that is working, at some hourly wage, dressed up to be a cartoon character.
Yes, indeed.
So where do you? Yeah, it's hard to.
Well, obviously, groping, grabbing a stranger's boob is right 0% of the time. All right, but the fact that he was there with his wife, I just wonder what their conversation was like, because I've been out partying with my ex-wife, and we've gotten into some pretty serious shenanigans that were probably borderline. I mean, I've never groped a boob of a Disney princess, but I wouldn't put it past my second ex-wife if we were at Disney and she was like, "Hey man, you want to see something?" I'd be like, "What do you mean?" She's like, "Yeah, I'm about to grab this girl's boob," and she would do it.
Yes, having met her, no doubt.
Yeah. So yeah, right.
Yeah.
And so having these two together, it kind of seems like maybe they were conspiring together to. What are we going to do? Let's do something really stupid.
But, I don't know. You're trying to imagine a more peaceful evening at home between the two of them than I am. So,
well, I'm thinking that these two were both out of their mind, because look at this guy's face. I mean, he looks like he's freaking plastered, on top of also just crazy looking. Although he is, fairly well groomed and everything like that, in terms of his facial hair and stuff. But I thought this might be fun to kind of look at some of the different Disney princesses that you mentioned earlier, and maybe decide which Disney princess would be right for you.
I would say, looking back and just taking my son, who's now not a kid anymore, but to his first movie when he was 3, and it was The Little Mermaid.
The Little Mermaid.
Yes, and again. I also love seafood, so maybe that has something to do with it. I'm not sure. But then, years later, again, they are cute.
Do you chop the head off before you eat that?
Well, I was more concerned about starting, scaling, getting the scales off, and what a mess that would be,
Yeah.
Yeah, that's rough. I'm not big for filleting.
Do you think her fins are sharp?
I hope not. They sure soften them up in animation. So it could be the lens filter.
Yeah.
Although Jasmine's also beautiful. They get the eyes, right? So these cartoonists know how to capture, the eyes. And so much of it is the face and the eyes and just the look, right? There's a look of, just not only innocence, but also of pureness and playfulness and joy that adults kind of lose slowly over time. And this looks like, right before, we all start to get a little jaded. Although, now that we slide across, of course, Pocahontas, I did like that. I liked the movie, and I liked the character. Again, a much stronger, independent woman, definitely representing a lot,
and very probably the first of sort of that countercultural trend that they were doing in the Disney movies, where she was basically defending her people's enemy because she had some kind of special connection with her people's enemy, and that has been the MO. You ever seen Moana, that Disney movie Moana?
No, I haven't caught that yet.
That's a theme, and that hasn't really happened. I mean, I feel like all the movies prior to Pocahontas, except, I don't know, the Lion King came out after Pocahontas, I believe. But at any rate, I like her character a lot too, because she's kind of she's oppositional. She has problems with her father and her people, and she's, obviously coming of age, although she appears to be quite all the way aged.
Yes.
In this one. Yeah, so
they had some fun, the animation. But you're right. There is a really interesting point here. You are bridging, you're bridging the gap, and she clearly saw the stupidity of both sides, right? It was, a bit of pigheadedness, a bit of xenophobia, right? And I think that's it, right? No one was necessarily, neither side was necessarily bad or evil, but they were fearful. And
they were afraid and defensive.
Right, exactly. Yep. And it's that, and it's this reaction, right? You overreact when you're fearful, and things escalate, and then suddenly, you have a good, normal, good or non-bad people fighting each other. So just to really,
so there were good things about both sides. Although there was a bad guy who, like all great Disney villains, was grotesque and overweight, which they quit doing a little while back. I forget who some English, really, really extravagant, rich, wealthy English pilgrim type guy that was the main bad guy in that movie. So Pocahontas is it Pocahontas or Ariel? Which one's your favorite? Like, if you had to be stuck forever with one of the two, which would you pick?
Oh, it would be Pocahontas. Absolutely. Again,
so Pocahontas for Ronin.
Yes, yeah, no question. I mean, there's something about, first of all, indigenous cultures that are just, in my mind, not romantic, but just pure.
Well, you mentioned Jasmine earlier. Are you sure? If Jasmine walked in and caught you with Pocahontas, what would you feel guilty at all? Would you have second thoughts about maybe Jasmine?
A man has to make a choice, and you have to stick with that choice.
Jasmine's got big hair, though. I mean, she's got some serious big hair, which, that's the funny thing about Ariel, because most of her scenes are underwater, but shouldn't her hair just be like space shuttling it all over the place?
When she gets out of the water, that's the hair I want to see.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Like the swimsuit issue.
Right.
I guess for me, an honorable mention would probably be Belle. I like Belle because she's a brunette. She's got a beautiful dress. And, she kind of looks like a Southern girl. I know she's French.
Right. In this case, you're right. I actually met the real Belle. Now, when I say the real Belle, what does that mean? That means that...
What does that mean?
Well, yeah, I mean, it's not as stupid as it sounds. So the real Belle, I was at a fundraiser in New York City probably 10 or 15 years ago. And I'm speaking to this gorgeous woman at the table. And I'm asking her what she does. And it turns out that she had the lead role in the Broadway play. She was Belle.
Oh, really?
So yeah. To me, that's the real Belle. At least
so she wasn't just gorgeous. You're trying to figure out, why is this woman so gorgeous? And you're like, oh, you're actually a Broadway actress.
Right. Talented, charming,
probably incredibly athletic and everything too.
Yeah, I mean, just stunning is the word.
Mm-hmm.
You can't. You got to try to take your head and point it so it's not looking at her.
And you two have now been married, 19 years, right?
Oh, yeah, in my dream state, yes. Yeah.
It's funny because in Broadway shows and in live stage things, and even in movies, they have this device that, in order to create the illusion of pubic hair on the actress or actor, they have this thing that's a pubic wig. It's called a Merkin. And on the last episode, I don't know if you saw this, but Gabby and I actually built our own Merkins, or in my case, Jasmine helped me build my own Merkin. And the Merkin is worn just above the equipment, and it's designed to, add hair where perhaps hair does not exist, or even add a little decoration. And I thought it would be a good idea for you to see the Merkins that were constructed just for our show. So the Merkin that Gabby built is right up there hanging on the wall next to the picture of Jasmine. And she decided that she was going to make a coffin Merkin, which is a strap-on style. It has a ribbon that goes around her waist, and she can wear that. And it's pretty dark shit, right?
Yes. There's some goth going on there.
Oh, for sure. I don't know if she likes to be characterized as goth, but she does sleep in a casket, which is kind of interesting, right? I don't know too many people that do that.
Yeah, that's about as goth as you can possibly get.
And she said
unless you're a vampire.
She's working on getting her boyfriend Scooter to sleep in it with her.
Is it a double?
No, it's not technically even a casket. It's a coffin, which is like kind of the shape of the Merkin there. But and then my Merkin is this beautiful rainbow fluff up here, which Jane helped me construct. And it's actually inspired by like a rainbow version of Bob Ross's afro. You know Bob Ross, the PBS painter?
Yes.
That did all the nature paintings. And we have a friend, Sadie Marshall, who is a Merkin expert. We call her the Merkinator. And in fact, she's the first person I ever met that hipped me to the idea of what a Merkin is.
Well, how do you become an expert in that?
Well, listen, she is a formerly trained sexual therapist.
Okay, I would say expert.
Yeah. She teaches people and counsels people about sexual pleasure, and therefore she knows all about Merkins and other stuff. But the Merkin thing, to me, like when she first told me about it, I was like, GTFO, like this is not real, man. Like you're making this crap up. And then I looked it up, and it turns out that people have been wearing Merkins in movies in order to keep them rated R. Because I guess if there's no hair down there, it's not rated R. It's rated the next thing up.
Right, full frontal. Yeah, yes. You jump to the next rating.
So I wanted to get your opinion on those two Merkins and tell me which one you think is nicer.
Well, I'm a little afraid of this one right here. There's definitely something dark and sinister about that one. So yeah, kind of I like the rainbow thing. You could also wear that during Pride Week, and I think there's more utilitarianism in that. So yeah.
So you is it fair to say that? Well, first of all, we need to establish one thing. I haven't coached you. I haven't begged you. I haven't tried to influence you on your Merkin opinion. I just presented and described both Merkins and then asked you which one you prefer.
Yes.
And you actually chose my Merkin? Gabby's going to be so pissed at you when she comes back from her Gabby business.
Oh, boy. I'll profusely apologize.
I mean, she is convinced that she has the better Merkin. And
well, I mean, I have not seen either of these used. So it's just, these are display pieces right now. So one lacks color and, one doesn't.
So that's an easy thing to fix. Everybody, we are on YouTube at Trouble in Paradise. Put the comments, vote for the Merkin that you prefer. If you agree with Rich that my Merkin is the best, then vote for Nigel. If you disagree with Rich and you think that Gabby's Merkin is the best, then vote for Gabby. You can also vote on our Facebook page, which is Tipcast. TIP stands for Trouble in Paradise, Tipcast. We're also on Twitter at Tipcast2. And I believe Gabby now has an Instagram I think it's at Gabby Fallen or at TIP Gabby Fallen, something like that. But anyway, if you know what that is, post that in the comments too. Sorry, Gabby, if I goofed that up.
All right. And what about what about hash browns, Merk?
Hash
There's
browns.
got to be
Merkin.
one for her.
Hash brown doesn't have a Merkin yet. That would be interesting. How do you do a dog Merkin? Like, I feel like it would need to be on their back somehow, so you could see it.
Well, unless you want to go strapless, that would be a little more difficult.
Have you ever been in a really, really big hurry when you were driving?
Yes.
I mean, what's the biggest hurry you've ever been in while you were driving your car?
Oh, when you are on a long drive and you really have to find a bathroom and you're about to explode. That's a bit frustrating on those long drives.
So it's almost as bad as when you've been in a scuba suit and you just need to get out of that bus. Like, you're in a hurry because something's not right and you need to get somewhere.
Yeah. Although it was one time I was wearing the scuba suit. No, in the car. No, that's that. It must have been somebody else.
Yeah, of course. Well, there just happens to be this guy, this Florida man, who was caught driving 90 in a 55 zone because he, quote, needed to get home in a hurry because he was cheating on his wife. That's what he actually told the police. Look at this guy.
Yeah. Well, there's got to be a point in which if you could come up with a story that doesn't insult or doesn't bore the cop to death, like all the others that they always hear, maybe.
Well, I think he got into a little bit more trouble than that because it says in the arrest report that the guy also had crack cocaine on his person.
Oh, maybe that's why he was in a hurry.
A motorist driving recklessly may have gotten himself into trouble at home by confessing to a legal offense. Police in Florida, beautiful Florida, pulled over John Earl Picard. Now that sounds like a Confederate Civil War name, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Palm Harbor.
At least a colonel.
Yeah, Colonel Picard. Of Palm Harbor for recklessly driving over 90 miles per hour in a 55 mile per hour zone early Sunday, according to a Pinellas County arrest affidavit.
Oh, maybe he was going to church early Sunday. Right?
You know what? Last time I got nailed on a really big ticket, that's exactly what I was doing. I was running late to church. It was a long time ago. And I tried telling the guy, and he's like, okay, that's what everybody says. Police in Florida pulled over, blah, 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 blah. He needed to get home in a hurry because he was cheating on his wife. It's unclear what he meant exactly. This isn't the first time law enforcement has been dragged into Jones' marital woes. He was arrested in March for domestic battery, according to the Smoking Gun. His 55-year-old wife asked prosecutors to drop the charges, and they did. Police also alleged that Picard had more than 2 grams of crack cocaine when he was busted over the weekend. He spontaneously confessed. He just purchased the rocks for $50 and finally buttoned up after arresting officers told him he had the right to remain silent. There was no indication of intoxication. He posted bond and will be in court next month.
Yeah, he didn't have time to become intoxicated. If the police would just let him do his thing, he would eventually get there.
But I mean, do you think he made up the story about cheating on his wife because he didn't want to get caught with the crack, or what?
Well, yeah, I could go either way. I was thinking more along the lines of, speeding is one thing, right? But where's the from a police perspective, right? What would motivate them to search the car? Like, where was it? Just sitting there in a seat? Was it, kind of a...
well, if he was going 90 in a 55, that's
suspect.
That's really, I mean, that's 35, what is it? 35 miles over the 90, 85, 55, 30, 35 miles over the, that's fast.
Yeah, that's not, that's way over. Once you're above, 20, 25 over the limit, it becomes a much more serious offense.
And if it's this guy, that might be cause enough, right?
Yeah.
I mean, would that be just cause, reasonable suspicion?
Was he just prepared for this day wearing an orange shirt, or is that the jumpsuit that you get after the arrest?
Oh, he probably, I know. Like, he's like, I'm pretty sure I'm going to get arrested today. Maybe I'll just wear my orange shirt.
So why bother changing once you get it, once you get processed?
Colonel Picard was arrested today on charges of speeding because he was cheating on his wife.
Wow.
But, yeah. What a...
Yeah, maybe he was trying to get sympathy from the cop, think, you've been there, right? We've all been there, nod, nod, wink, wink. And, again, maybe you do have to come up with something that is unique.
Yeah.
If you get the cop to laugh, you've got more of a chance to get off.
Is that it? Ronin's tips for surviving getting pulled over or not getting busted?
Right, that or having big boobs and but
well, yeah, that's a statistical fact that women get like half as many tickets as men do. What do you think about this one about the Florida man who burglarized the probation office while he was on probation? Have you seen this one yet?
Wow.
No. This was Dateline November 11th, 11/11. South Daytona man already on probation violated his probation by burglarizing the probation office, police said.
What was he trying to steal?
And he was captured after the chain on his bicycle broke.
Wow. You see, you can't drag a desk with a bicycle and get away.
No.
Unless you had the electric bike, maybe an e-bike.
I mean, if you're so like you're hauling ass away from the scene of the crime on your one speed, probably like a 20-inch like kid's bike, and he's just going as fast as he can. Oh my gosh,
that's embarrassing.
But I love that first sentence. They worked the word probation into the sentence 3 times. Like there's no other place on the internet where the word probation exists in one sentence that many times. South Daytona man already on probation violated his probation by burglarizing the probation office. LaTravia McGill, 37, was arrested at about 1:50 a.m. Monday morning and accused of breaking into the probation office at blah, blah, blah. He was being held without bail. Wow.
So what did he take? What did he expect to find in a probation office?
I don't know.
That was worth breaking into.
Well, I mean, burglarizing means you're trying to steal, right?
What I'm asking is what's there to be stolen, right? Wouldn't you want to, go after cash or something that you could pawn very easily?
Well, let's see what it says. Possession of burglary tools, petty theft, and resisting an officer. McGill caused major damage to the door. Officers responded to the probation office about 1 a.m. They saw the door open and heard some noise. They saw McGill riding away on a bicycle. So he didn't even come prepared. Like maybe he had a cargo rack or something, but what are you going to steal on a bike, man?
Right. Or maybe it was more of a vandalism in terms of the motivation because it doesn't say he took anything. It says he damaged the door.
Yeah, I feel like it may be more of a vandalism. Like, hey, I'm probation. I'm going to go show these guys.
Wow.
But the chain on the bicycle broke and police arrested McGill at taser point.
Wow. The thought that goes into these capers are, staggering. So, this is no easy, planning, months of planning. I don't know how, this is like Ocean's 11 here.
Yeah, this guy clearly put a lot of thought into it. He had a really great team. He recruited the best capers that he could.
Right, the getaway car was prepped.
So this is it, man. This guy wins the Smartest Guy in Florida award for tonight.
Wow.
And
impressive.
So I just want to invite everybody to please follow us, subscribe to our channel, Trouble in Paradise, on YouTube. You can subscribe to us on Stitcher. You can also find us on Apple Podcasts and a bunch of other places, Spotify. Tell a friend about our podcast. We really enjoy creating it for you. We've been getting some good feedback, so please post a comment. I'd like to thank our friend Ronin for appearing on the show. Dude, your jokes are the best. Sometimes they catch me off guard, which is good, because when I realize a half an hour later that you were joking me, that's going to be even funnier.
One more for tonight.
Absolutely, let's do it.
So, backseat drivers, they're all the same, right? Why are we driving into the woods? And please let me go.
Now that sounds like trouble. And for all of you at home, make sure you stay out of trouble. And I hope you have a great night. Goodbye.